I am Becca. If you haven't been to my channel yet, I am Becca. I'm a full-time working mom. I have a 4-year-old, and I have been struggling with secondary infertility. This video is going to be all about my IVF tips and tricks. I did IVF for 9 months before we were done with IVF due to my body not being able to carry a pregnancy for medical reasons. We are now in our surrogacy journey, so definitely stay along, subscribe to my channel to learn more about that journey, as that is what's happening right now. And I'm so excited to share with you guys every step of the way. Okay, so for today though, let's go ahead and get into the IVF's tips and tricks. First things first, I highly recommend checking your work benefits. Check to see if you have any fertility benefits at all. If you have any reimbursements or specific doctors or services that you can lean into to help with this process. My work provided Progeny. It was super helpful throughout the IVF process as I was able to use smart cycles to help cover the cost. Now let's dive into support. Support is huge when you're going through the IVF process. I've heard a lot of people say, I don't want to tell anyone I'm going through it. I don't want to expose myself, or I don't want people to know my timeline, which I totally understand and respect. But for me, my closest friends and family absolutely knew I was going through IVF. IVF is hard, mentally, physically, emotionally, and it impacts everyone around you, not only just you. So I definitely communicated to my family when things were happening. And also if there was a letdown or something that didn't happen within the IVF journey that didn't meet my expectations, I had support there to help guide me and encourage me through that process. So do as you will, but I do recommend having support. And if it's not a larger group of people, definitely have a support person that is on your side rooting you on, especially during injections. For me, I always wanted someone with me when I did an injection, but I was the one that was doing it. I wanted the control of actually doing the injection, but I never wanted to be alone when I was doing my injections. And that was purely because I didn't want this process to feel like it was just me and I was all alone. I wanted someone to be with me, to be encouraging me, to give me hugs, to tell me you're doing a great job. So that's something that I did, is I always had someone with me when I did an injection so that I could have that support and have someone rooting me on. As I do have a 4-year-old, I did not do any of my injections in front of my 4-year-old. I do know that some people do their injections around their children that they may already have. For me, that was a choice that I didn't want my son to necessarily have to see me going through any pain or just see me poke myself with a needle. That was something I didn't want him to see. So that is something we definitely made a priority of, keeping him busy while my husband and I would sneak away to go ahead and do those injections. Another tip I have is to stay busy. I was very busy during a lot of my more bigger weeks of IVF, like during egg retrieval and things like that. I was very busy, so I wasn't able to focus as much on how am I feeling, what's my anxiety level, just kind of run through all of those things. It was helpful for me. I know that everyone can't do that, but we had family in town. We had my mom was staying with me while Andy was out of town. It was just busy. It was busy family life. And so that was helpful for me because you obviously are thinking about it. You're doing the injections and things like that. And so being busy really did help me just to keep my mind off of it a little bit more and also keep me active. I didn't feel the best a lot, especially during my egg retrieval medications. I didn't feel the best, but having people in town, walking around, going to shopping did make me feel better. Not that I was necessarily buying a lot of clothes, because not a lot fit at that point. And I knew that wasn't my size, because you do get quite large. At least I did. I got quite large, kind of really bloated, like a pregnancy belly, for my egg retrieval. And so just getting up and walking around was super helpful. I did buy some things like no pants. I didn't try on any pants. Let's just keep it at that. And so like tops and things like that, which was fun. It was fun to get out and just kind of walk around and things like that. So staying busy is crucial. Next up is organization. Organization was so key for me to feel like I knew what I was doing, I knew where everything was. And so these are a couple of products that helped me stay organized throughout my journey. Number one, I will say this travel bag. I have seen a lot of people do either a travel bag like this, or they've even done like a shoe rack on the back of a door and they put everything in there. For me, I really needed something that zipped up because I do have a 4-year-old and I didn't want him to get into any of the needles or the medications or anything like that. So I opted for something like this. And what's great about this is even now I'm done with IVF, but it was so helpful during IVF, but now after I still use it. I use it when I travel and everything, but I did fill it up with IVF things so you guys could see exactly what that looks like. So you can open it and then it opens even more. So as you can see, it's quite large, but everything in here was absolutely used and it helped keep everything in one place. So let's just kind of go through each one. This one also has a hook, which was super nice. I used the hook on our door in our bathroom just to kind of hook it on, and I could zip things closed. And sometimes I would even just like do this on my door just so it was closed up for my son not to get into anything. But just to go through these, so there's a pocket on the outside. I use that for papers. So I put in like my calendars and stuff. Through my agency, they gave us large calendars for like when you're supposed to do your medications, your dosages, and all of that. So that is something I would print out the entire calendar, and then I actually taped it to my bathroom wall so I could just check off the day. So I knew exactly where I was at and what I needed. I also took pictures of it. We have an app for my fertility clinic, but I also took pictures of it so that I had it on the go too, just in case I needed my medications. And we'll talk about on the go as well in just a moment. But in here, so on my top one, I have like needles and things like that. So I have like these injection needles, and these are the smaller ones. These are the ones I did in my tummy. These ones are the ones that go in your butt or your hip. Then, and I also had like my my little needle caps too for the pens in there because you get a ton of them. So having extra was super nice. Then in my next area, I kept a lot of the syringes. Some of these had needles on them, like a draw up syringe. You can see there. Or just like a regular syringe, like that, as you go through a lot of those. So I have those in there. My next one was all my medications. So this is just what I have left over, but I would have boxes of medications. I would have my pills. I would have also down here is just more box medication. So I always had that. And then at the bottom, the alcohol pads, and something I absolutely recommend if you are not necessarily in love with needles, is a lidocaine cream. So I use this actually I didn't use this lidocaine cream. This lidocaine cream came from my doctor. So not my IVF doctor, my regular doctor. She prescribed this for just to help with the ease of injections, but it was only 2.5%. So I actually found one on Amazon that I really liked and it worked great. So I will link that one down below. It was a 5% lidocaine, so much higher than this, but this was, I already maxed out my insurance, so this was free. Because it came through my insurance. It was a prescription of this. So if you need something, and maybe a cheaper avenue could be to get it through your primary care doctor. Although they may not prescribe 5%. Online on Amazon, I got a 5% one, which worked really well. But this is the one that was just from my doctor. All right. And with my lidocaine cream, I always put it on 30 minutes before I had an injection. So I always set alarms on my phone for whenever I was going to have an injection, and I would put my cream on. I even brought my cream like in my purse and things like that, so that I always had it with me so I could apply it before if I was running late or anything like that. Just because I was like, I want to be as most comfortable as possible. Why feel a prick if I don't have to? So that is why I did use the lidocaine cream. Another one that's really great that I used during my egg retrieval cycle was an iced pack. So I had refrigerated medication. So what is this? This is Gonal F. So I had a pen. And so this is an injectable pen. And so this needs to be refrigerated. So I went on my girls' trip. And so I actually got a letter from my physician to be able to take the medications and the needles on my carry-on with me. And then so it was just no big deal. I could totally continue life and do the injections as well, which is great. I didn't know that. So it was awesome that that was an option. But this is the one I used for that trip. And I used it other times as well after I had it. But I bought it specifically for that trip because it was at the beginning of my journey. And it's an ice pack. It's specifically for injections. So in here, they do have the ice packs. It comes with 4 of them. They're like this, kind of thin. And they just kind of tuck right on in there. Then it has, you can get ones with different sizes. I chose a bigger one. You could definitely go smaller as they're depending on how much meds you're bringing with you. But the meds just kind of stick in like this. And then on this side, I would put like my injection needles and such. So it's all in one place. And this one has like tons of room, as you can see here. And then it also had two of these in the back, so you just freeze them and they stay cold. My flight was 4 hours, and then plus travel time of driving. I think I drove 4 hours too. Like these, it stayed cold the whole time. So very long lasting, great for a full day of travel. I will definitely go ahead and put this down below so that you can use it if you would like. One other thing to note too is these are removable. So you could just use it like later on or whatever. Here's this, and then here's this. So that is something good to know too, just in case you wanted something that you don't have refrigerated medications. That's a great option as well. Along with all my medications, it was so helpful to have a pill contraption. A pill keeper, pill organizer. So this was super helpful. I actually didn't have this exact one during my IVF. The one that I was using during IVF broke because I use it so much. But being able to plan out all my meds, because I did have oral medications as well, was super helpful with all the vitamins they have you on, with your prescription medications. And some of them are like, take one this day and then take 2 this day. So it's just helpful to do it all throughout to have it set for the week for your AM and PMs. And so I do highly recommend a pill organizer as well, as it's so helpful just to like take that mental load off that it's already organized and you know what to take each day, and whether it's in the AM or the PM. Something that my doctor and their team recommended was mixing medications. Now you have to be super careful with this because some medications you cannot mix. But I was able to mix some of my medications, which means I was able to inject some into another so that I didn't have to do more than, I did like 2 pricks instead of like 4 pricks. And so in one like setting, in one dose to say. So that is something I would definitely recommend asking your provider about to see if you can mix any of your meds, because it made it so much easier. I personally, let me grab out the Gonal F. With the Gonal F, I did not like the pen. The pen was hard, so here it is, and then you put the needle on this side, but it was hard to tell if it went in or not. I know you can like look here to like see your medication, but it was really hard. I couldn't tell. Plus you had to like poke yourself really hard for it to go. And so, or not poke yourself, you have to push this and poke at the same time. And so I preferred just putting this, this is one that I mixed it into another medication. So I dialed up the dose and then put it in another medication bottle, and then drew up both of those medications into one syringe. So that is a good tip that I really embraced from my team. So I hope that you can mix some of your meds too, because it's less pokes. So definitely ask about that, because that's something that you could potentially do with your medications as well. Along with doing the warming the area, I also recommend getting one of these. So it's like one of those bean bag things that you can put in the microwave. I have an electric heater, like blanket heater, but during IVF, a lot of times your doctor will say not to use that as it can get too warm. So this really was wonderful. This was a gift actually from my aunt. And it was wonderful. So I would even just put it in the microwave. I would put it on my stomach, not too hot, of course, or just like to relax with. So, so wonderful to have. I do recommend having one of these. I thought having the heated blanket would be enough, but it's not, because it gets too hot. So this is something I definitely recommend as well, that you can put on areas of your body, as well as just like on your tummy or your back or wherever, to help you feel just a little bit more comfortable. Next up is clothing. Clothing, clothing, clothing. Clothing is a tricky one. Through IVF, I gained about a solid 10 pounds. And that's let alone the bloating that would come from different cycles that you would go through. So I needed a lot of stretchy clothing, and that was not tight. One thing you may not think of is your underwear. My underwear was all high rise, and so it really became super uncomfortable very quickly throughout my IVF journey. I went back and used like pregnancy marketed underwear, like the low rise underwear, to help just be able to be comfortable with that expanding of like your lower belly where your uterus is. And so highly recommend, and that's where all the injections go and everything. So I really did enjoy using like low rise or like pregnancy underwear, just to make sure that I was super comfortable. Also, because I was like puffing or bloating, even my legs got bigger. So it's just even like all over, it was very uncomfortable. My undergarments became uncomfortable. So making sure that you are sizing up in those, making sure you have larger sizes, just so that you are prepared and have things that fit. That was a big thing for me, is I didn't have a lot of clothes that would fit me that were bigger, unless they were actual pregnancy clothes. And I didn't want to wear pregnancy clothes because I was like, I'm not pregnant. And so I ended up borrowing clothes from my mom, which I am super thankful for, that were just like a little bit looser on me, gave me room, because I didn't want to buy a whole new wardrobe, because I knew this was going to be more short term. But I did buy some staple pieces that I felt really comfortable in, and I highly recommend that. Recommend sizing up on your bottoms, even like sweatpants or loose dresses, even sweatshirts. Some would feel started feeling tight on me. I wanted larger sweatshirts, just to help you feel as most comfortable and confident during this period of time, which can be hard at times. So yeah, getting yourself a couple of maybe cute sweat outfits or lounge outfits or whatnot. I also loved getting a special outfit for egg retrieval day or any surgery day. Every time I had a surgery, or a big like appointment or something, if you can do this, I highly recommend getting yourself a cute outfit. I loved it. It was made it more of an exciting day, even though I knew that day may come with pain or disappointment or excitement or all of the emotions. Feeling cute and being excited to wear that new set, that new jogger set, or whatever it may be, highly recommend. Another thing coming up with those like procedure days and things is having really, really comfy pajamas to wear when you come home. I loved getting a new set of pajamas as well, just to be really cozy and just feel, make it more of an event and be like, hey, I'm proud of myself for doing this. I got through this. So I'm going to reward myself with a new pair of PJs. And let's be honest, how often do we buy ourselves PJs anyway? So it's about time. Another thing I highly recommend doing that helped me mentally throughout the IVF journey is meditation. I would use meditations through the Calm app, is my favorite. Otherwise, there's a lot of other ones out there on the internet, or even listening to YouTube. I would also talk to my body all the time of like, hey, little follicles, keep on growing, or um, just like talking to my body and uplifting it and having positive words of encouragement towards myself. I would also talk to my spirit baby all the time. So, my spirit baby is a baby that is theoretically is going to come earthside eventually one day. And so I would always talk to my spirit baby. I still do. I still talk to my babies. And so being able to talk to them, it just helps. It's kind of like a journal of just like talking, like, hey, I'm not feeling that great today, but I love you and I cannot wait for you to enter this world. So that's something that I definitely embraced and did just to help me mentally to kind of get through the process, and to stay uplifted and to be able to just center myself and have gratitude throughout the entire journey. As I'm sitting here editing, I realized that I forgot something that was so crucial. And this was having great podcasts or a playlist to listen to. For me, I was traveling or driving about 45 minutes to each appointment. And as you know, those appointments become very frequent. And a lot of times I did them by myself because my husband would be with our son. And so those drives can definitely get long, but something that made me look forward to them is having a specific podcast or maybe playlist that you listen to only during those drives. And sometimes a lot of my appointments were in the morning. In the morning, just being able to zone out and listen to that podcast really did help me because I was able to just kind of zone into that and not think about my appointment and the results that were going to come next. Now, if you know someone that's going through IVF, I highly recommend giving them a little bit of extra love. If you're going through IVF or you know someone that's going through it, I recommend even sending them a letter, sending them a text message, just saying, "Hey, checking in, thinking about you, I love you." Sending them a really cozy blanket and treats, or their favorite food, or even a dinner, or pajamas, just something to let them know that you're thinking about them is so appreciated. IVF is such an encompassing like thing and it happens for a long period of time. So you may not be able to gift them something every time they have a retrieval or they have a new maybe they have a transfer coming up, but being able to give them words of encouragement, letting them know that you're thinking of them, it really helps to not feel alone and to have people supporting you. So I do recommend that if you know someone going through IVF, send them a note. Send them a gift card for Postmates or whatever it may be, just to give them a little bit of love and let them know you're thinking about them, no matter the outcome, because sometimes those outcomes aren't the best. And on those days, I went and got ice cream. So, like, you do what you got to do. Some days are just not going to be great days. Some days are going to be really good days. And maybe on those good days, you get ice cream too. Those are my tips and tricks for IVF. I hope that if you are starting your journey with IVF that you can feel confident and excited. I can tell you from my point of view right now is that I did IVF for 9 months. It was not as successful in the way that we thought it would be with me being pregnant, but we were successful in creating beautiful embryos. And we are now moving on to our surrogacy journey. I am thankful that we went through our IVF journey so that we are where we're at today. I hope that some of these things will help ease the time for you, give you some confidence in the tools and the things that you can use, or just how to make yourself feel a little bit better. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.